The entrance to the cave that appeared before Sami was as dark as a gateway to nothingness. Daylight did not reach inside, and yet he was able to see a faint glimmer in its depths, as if calling to him. He grabbed his flashlight and tightened his backpack, then stepped cautiously inside. Inside the cave, the silence was heavy. He could only hear the sound of his breath and his feet touching the stone floor. The cave seemed alive, with walls covered in ancient engravings that glowed a faint blue. Sami stopped at one of the engravings and tried to read it. It was written in a strange language, but through the old book he inherited from his grandfather, he managed to decipher some of the symbols. Those who seek the blue stone must prove the purity of their heart, the courage of their soul, and the intelligence of their mind. The adventure begins now. So, this is just the beginning? Sami muttered to himself, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. He continued walking, but suddenly, he heard a loud creak, as if a giant door was closing behind him. He quickly turned to find that the entrance had vanished. He was surrounded by moving walls that began to close in on him slowly. No time to be scared now, Sami told himself, trying to keep his focus. He looked around quickly and noticed another engraving on one of the walls. There were 3 symbols: the sun, the moon, and a star. Below them were 3 words in a mysterious language. He grabbed his old book once again and started translating the words under the pressure of the walls closing in. The sun represents strength, the moon represents wisdom, the star represents hope, he said with a trembling voice. Then he shouted, "The star!" Suddenly, the walls stopped moving, and the cave returned to its quiet state. 3 corridors appeared in front of him, each bearing one of the 3 symbols. He had to choose one. After much thought, he chose the corridor with the moon symbol, feeling that wisdom would be his ally in this adventure. Inside the moon corridor, the corridor was filled with obstacles. He encountered a series of puzzles, each more challenging than the last. Initially, he had to solve a mechanical puzzle to open a massive metal door. It took him a long time, but he managed to use his intelligence and keen observations to unlock the mechanism. Then, Sami faced another challenge. He had to cross a narrow bridge, suspended over an abyss with no visible bottom. The bridge itself was filled with stones moving and shifting with every step. No room for error here, Sami said as he proceeded cautiously. He almost fell several times, but at the last moment, he recalled a simple rule from his old lessons. Do not just focus on your next step, but look at the bigger picture. Using this rule, he was able to predict the movement of the stones and safely reach the other side. At the end of the corridor, Sami found himself in a vast, dark hall. Suddenly, torches on the walls lit up, and before him appeared a giant guardian clad in silver armor, wielding a massive axe. "Who are you to enter this hall?" the guardian boomed. Sami stood firm and said, "I am Sami, and I seek the blue stone to save my world and yours." The guardian replied, "Many have come before you and failed. If you want the stone, you must prove your courage. Fight me, but remember, victory is not always through strength." The battle began, and the guardian was fast despite his enormous size. Sami tried to evade the mighty blows, but realized he could not win through physical strength. He remembered the guardian's words about victory without strength. Suddenly, he noticed that the torches on the walls moved with every step the guardian took. Sami exploited this observation and started moving in a way that cast confusing shadows of the guardian on the ground, causing him to trip momentarily. Sami seized the opportunity and grabbed a small axe beside him, striking the ground forcefully. This caused part of the flooring to break beneath the guardian. The guardian fell into a small pit, but was unhurt. He stood once more, but did not attack Sami. Instead, he smiled and said, "You have proven your wisdom. You may pass." After passing the guardian, Sami entered a small room with a glowing stone pedestal in the center. On the pedestal, the blue stone shimmered enchantingly. Sammy approached the stone slowly, but he felt an immense energy surrounding it. One final battle awaits you. Suddenly, Sammy was back in the cave, but this time he held the blue stone in his hand. He felt a tremendous energy flowing through his body, but he realized he had to get out before the walls around him collapsed.